Well, hello and welcome to the April 2026 Be More Mancroft podcast. I'm Edward Carter.
And I'm Judy Ball.
And it's lovely you've joined us. Well, April, Judy.
I know, lovely time of year, isn't it? I think you like April because of the...
Yes, it is. Like we were just saying, yes, how actually it's lovely. The days get longer, and I do particularly like a nice, light, longer evening. And you really notice that the clocks have changed, of course, and suddenly it seems to be light until, 8, 9 o'clock before you know it. So, I do really like that. Yeah, it makes a big difference to me. Yeah.
I like mornings.
Right.
I like a light morning.
Yes.
But that will change, but only briefly. That will soon get...
Yeah. Well, it's lovely and bright. Certainly parts of my house, you get lovely morning sunshine coming in.
I do too.
Yeah, that's good. And of course, it's an important time of year at the church as well. Easter is early in April this year, and there's lots to prepare for that. Yes, Holy Week, of course, runs up to Easter. Yeah.
Lovely time. Sad in some ways, obviously, because of Good Friday. Yeah. But an Easter Day, of course. Yeah. Love Easter Day.
Yeah, great celebration. And there's that day just between the two, which is, I think, Holy Saturday is what it's really called, Yes. And it's, well, in terms of the story about Jesus, it's a mysterious day because it's after he's died, but before he's risen again.
Right.
And so some people feel it's a really important day.
Well, I think it is because everyone was wondering at that time as to what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Was he going to, or would he rise again?
Yes.
Or was he completely gone? Or what was going to happen?
Yeah.
And then it was all clarified on the next day.
Yes. A day of expectation. And actually it feels like that at church as well, that Saturday. Yes. I mean, they have the flower arrangers in and taking down all the Lent veils and things like that. And the whole church will look amazing. Yeah, but Good Friday, of course, with the cross is the great Christian symbol.
Yes.
So that's really important. And I was in church the other day and I got chatting with our good friend Janice Tyra, about the pocket crosses.
Yes, they sell so well. People love them.
Yeah. Let's listen to the interview I did with her.
Oh, yes.
Well, I'm here in the church, and I'm here with Janice Tyra, who's, Janice, you're a stalwart member of St Peter Mancroft over many years, but we're talking about the pocket crosses, which are here at the back. How long have you been helping to make those pocket crosses here?
It must be at least 30 years.
Yeah.
And at first they didn't go very quickly, but over the recent years we've had them in a dominant place in the church, and people see them and love them and take them for all sorts of reasons. Yeah, I mean, there are always people browsing at them when I'm here in church. Yeah, they're absolutely beautiful. And so you actually physically make them, do you? Yes. Now, that happened about 30 years ago. We had a women's fellowship in church at the time, and one of the members had been to visit her sister in Wales. Right. And the sister's church had got these crosser pockets. Yes. And she brought them back to Norwich to give out some to some of us. And everybody was very interested, but there weren't enough for everybody. Oh. So me being me, looked at mine and thought, I think I could make these. Uh-huh. And that was the beginning of it all. So each pocket cross is an actual cross, and there's a little pocket it goes in, and then a little prayer as well, I think? Yes, to say why you might want to keep a cross in your pocket, to remind you, not to flaunt that you were a Christian, but something you could feel in your pocket and know that God was there with you, and that's beautiful. And they come in all different colours. I notice you make them in different colours. So when you're making a new one, how do you decide what colours to make it? Well, most of the wool is donated for a start, so it's oddments that people have had left over from various things. So sometimes I see a new colour and I think, oh yes, I must buy that. Yeah. And sometimes we choose the colour for a particular reason. Yeah. When the Ukraine problem started, we did a lot of blue and yellow ones. Of course, yes. And I did put an extra little prayer in for prayer for those people suffering in that. Yeah. And sometimes I'll put an extra little prayer in for a particular reason, like for when Pam wanted some crosses made to give to her grandchildren after she had died, and she wanted a little message from herself personally.
Oh, isn't that lovely? Yes. And are there any other stories of people who've perhaps taken a pocket cross away and then you've heard later from them how important it's been for them, or any other lovely stories about them?
Yes, we don't usually hear stories afterwards, but sometimes people say why they want them. Yeah. And a couple of years ago, I suppose now, we had a young man who used to come in fairly regularly. His mother had an old people's home, and a lot of the helpers who she had going were foreigners from other countries who were Christians, and she used to give them one as a little present when they first started work with her.
That's amazing. Yeah.
And we also had a Roman Catholic, a lady from the Roman Catholic Church. Her daughter was making her first communion, and they were having a party afterwards for all her little friends. And so she brought each of them a little cross to give at the party.
And there must be thousands that have been made over the years, over these 30-odd years.
Yes.
And do you know how many thousand?
No, but the girl who looks after the finances at the children's hospice is currently looking back through the records to see if she can work out. That won't be just the crosses, of course. That will be the other things that we have done to raise money for them.
Yes, because
last year was 2,000.
Wow.
That we sold. The year before was 700.
Right.
And so I think, we've averaged over the last few years 150 to 200 sort of for several years.
That's amazing, yes. Yes, and it's all raising funds. People are invited to make a donation, of course, and as you say, for the East Anglian Children's Hospice. So that's a really lovely extra part of it. Yeah. Wonderful. Well, Janice, it's like a kind of ministry, really, making the crosses, and just think of all those people who've got them in their pockets. So,
yes, well, I think of it as a ministry. Yeah. People have said, £1 each, you could ask for more. And I said no, because I want it to be available for everybody. And hopefully they will appreciate it and it will mean something to them.
Yeah. Well, I think it's absolutely wonderful. To have a cross in your pocket is a most precious and glorious thing. Thank you so much for chatting with me today, and thank you for all the crosses that you've made and all the joy and delight and comfort that they've given
I do have some help now. Judith, of course, has been helping me now for 10 years. And other people have. We got overwhelmed by the number of people who were coming in and taking them, and I thought, I'm doing nothing in my spare time apart from making crosses. So we have got 1 or 2 volunteers who help as well.
That's great. A great team effort. Janice, thank you so much.
I didn't realise Janice had been doing it for quite so long, 30 years.
Yeah, amazing.
But my God, they are so popular.
Yes.
And when I've been on welcoming duty, I've been quite surprised at the amount of small children that come in that want the crosses. They absolutely love them.
Yeah. I've noticed that people come in and sometimes people just make a beeline for them, really, don't
they? Yes, they do.
Because they're all laid out on the table at the back.
And they're lovely colours.
Beautiful colours. And they're quite small, of course. They really do tuck in a very small pocket. Yeah, that's good. Have you actually got one?
I have. I've had 2, actually. I lost the first one. I don't know what happened to the first one. But the second one I bought when Janice was doing the Ukrainian colours. Mine is a blue and yellow one.
Yes.
Which is in my handbag, actually, not my pocket. Because my handbag's always with me.
Yes. Oh, well, that's
the same thing.
Same thing, really. Yeah. Yes, I've got a wooden holding cross that I always have in my pocket, so it's slightly different to Janice's crosses in the pocket. Yeah. But I've had that for, many years, and I always have it with me, and sometimes, I don't know if it ever happens to you, when you kind of run out of any words to say or even thoughts to think, and you just need to hold on to something in a much more basic way. Yes. And of course, for Christians, that holding on to the cross is a very important thing.
May I ask how you acquired it? Did someone give it to you, or did you buy it?
No, actually, it was a really interesting project I was involved with where I was before coming to St Peter Mancroft.
Yes.
I was in Essex at Chelmsford Cathedral.
Oh, yes.
And we celebrated the centenary of the diocese, and the cathedral was in 2014. And I talked to the bishop at some length about how we could mark this. And I came up with this idea of making lots of holding crosses to give, really, or to make available for all the different parishes across the diocese.
Right.
And my idea was that they would be, wooden holding crosses, made ideally out, because there were always some churches getting rid of their pews or being shut down. Yes. So I wanted to track down some pews that were being thrown out, and instead of just chucking them away, try and convert them into holding crosses. Because a pew is where you sit or kneel to pray. Yes. And it just felt a shame, really, that wasn't going to happen anymore. So I thought, well, you pray with a holding cross, really. So that would be a new way of using this timber. So the one I've got came from a church somewhere in Essex, made from a pew. But the other thing was, I found a little workshop that would laser etch onto the holding crosses once they'd been cut to shape, etch on the Great Commandment. I'm not going to put you on the spot, Judy, and ask if you remember what it is, but love God and love your neighbour as yourself at heart, with all your heart, all your strength, all your might. So it's got the Great Commandment written on it, across and then down. So not only are you holding on to the cross in a very kind of basic, visceral way, but you actually are holding on to those important words of Jesus. But I can certainly remember one or two points in life when, I've been perhaps really worried about someone dear to me, and trying to pray for them and for a good outcome, and running out of words to use, and just holding on quietly with my hand literally in my pocket, and just holding on in prayer. So the cross is obviously at the heart of the Christian faith. Although Good Friday and the cross only makes sense, I always say, when you also remember Easter, because Easter is the other part of course, of those important few days at the heart of the Christian year. If Jesus just died, well, that doesn't really help any of us. He needs to rise again, that new life, that new creation, that new promise from God come to fulfillment. So it's really, really important. And then actually all the rest of the Christian story kind of makes sense around that as well. If we believe in the beauty of creation generally, then we have to look to the new creation on Easter Day as well. So that's right at the heart of everything that happens really in the church at Mancroft. And that's what we tell everyone who arrives. And actually, speaking of that, there was a nice man who I got chatting with a few days ago. We didn't really talk about crosses and Easter and empty tombs or anything like that, but I had a nice little chat with him and recorded a tiny interview. So I thought we could maybe just listen to that now for a bit of fun. Well, I'm here in the church, and a lovely bright spring morning, and someone here visiting. Just wondering what you've enjoyed about being here in the church and scene today.
Hi, thank you. I came in completely on a whim. Fascinating church. I did not know anything about bell ringing, and the history of the first peal. I had no idea about that.
Brilliant.
I absolutely love all these original features, the sculptures, the font coverings, stunning. I just love all the original features in here as well.
Fantastic.
And the graffiti as well.
Yes,
on the pillars.
That's almost the most interesting thing.
I love the graffiti.
Awesome. Well, it's been brilliant to meet you, and thanks for visiting today.
You're welcome.
That's amazing how that gentleman picked up on the graffiti, found the graffiti.
That's right. Yes, I mean, there is a bit around the church. Yes. Actually, Judy, you've never scratched your name in a column anywhere, have you? Have you done any graffiti in the church?
No, I haven't. But not long after I started serving, which was way back, I was in the choir stalls on Evensong, and I suddenly saw D. Metcalf written, scratched in front of me. And David was a choir boy. Years. He was a friend of my son's, and he was there. So we're going back about 30, 40 years.
So he scratched his whole name
on the choir. And he scratched D. Metcalf, yes. I don't know whether it's still there. I don't know whether we've still got the choir stall where he carved it, but his name was there.
That must have been a long and boring sermon, I should think.
Yes.
Yeah, perhaps it was a sermon when you found it as well. You were looking around for something to distract you. Yes. Well, there is some graffiti, and there's some in the tower as well as you go up to the ringing chamber. There's certainly various things scratched in the walls there.
Yes.
Yeah. I always think graffitis, I mean, some people furrow their brows and say how dreadful, but I think it's interesting because it's ordinary people kind of leaving an imprint of their lives and just who they were. Right. And certainly sometimes people who've worked on the building, repairing something, they might just, cunningly leave their name just tucked somewhere. Yeah, well, it's all part of that creative human spirit, I suppose. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. And actually, I met someone the other day who was really interested in some of the wood carvings, a bit like the gentleman I just interviewed. Right. But they were particularly interested in the old stalls, the vicar's stall and the one or two of the other stalls. And there are a couple, I think, where the seats flip up and you can perch on them if you're, if it really is a long sermon,
yes,
or a psalm or something. And some of them have beautiful carvings on. Have you ever done wood carving, Judy, or not?
No, I haven't.
Because I know you're very creative. But,
yes, but in other spheres, not wood carving.
Yeah, because you do painting, of course, don't you? And
it's my cold porcelain, which air dries. I don't have to fire things.
And that's flowers and things like that, isn't it?
Yes, mostly flowers.
Yeah, I think you're doing some new flowers you've done some for the Easter candle.
I'm doing foliage as well this year. I'm just hoping it all works.
Good, yeah. Well, thinking about the beautiful flowers that you make, I actually found in the Undercroft at the top of the market just a few days ago, I found a whole exhibition of pottery, all different potters.
Oh, that's fascinating. I've never tried it.
Yeah, you've never had a spinning wheel in front of you with clay flying everywhere. No. Well, it was the Anglian Potters, and it was their Undercroft Spring Exhibition. I got chatting with one of the potters, so I thought play the interview now.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Well, I'm here in the Undercroft, actually, at the top of the market, and there's an amazing exhibition of pottery, which I think is running just into April, and I'm with Liz Chipchase. Liz, you're one of the potters, one of the artists here.
That's right. I'm a member of Anglian Potters. We set up these exhibitions. We have one in the Undercroft every year at this time of year.
Fantastic.
And potters from all over East Anglia come here, but especially ones who are local to Norfolk.
Yeah.
And if you come and look at what's here, the range of what you can make with just clay. Effectively, if you like playing with mud pies when you were little, you'd love the sort of materials that we produced here.
Fantastic.
And there's all sorts of different things.
Yeah. I mean, certainly there are pots that have been thrown on a wheel, but all sorts of other things. I think you said they're sort of built more, are they, if they're built out of clay?
Yes, they're called slab-built pots, and you start off with flat sheets of clay, and you can make. Some people have been making little houses, really nice little houses, or you can then bend the clay. Clay is very malleable, so you can make round shapes and you can make cylinders, and you can. The only thing that stops you is just how much imagination you've got.
How wonderful! And then you put it in the kiln, and then when you open it up, must be an amazing moment.
It is an amazing moment, but often it's a great disappointment because you have a picture in your mind of what's going to come out, and you look at it and think, that's not what I was planning. And then you put it on the shelf, and about 3 months later you look at it again and think, that's really rather good. It may not have been what I meant, but it's great.
Yeah. Well, that creative thing is extraordinary, isn't it? Yeah. So now I think probably things are for sale here as well, aren't they, as part of the exhibition?
They are indeed, yes. We're all keen to sell. We're really as much to make space in our studios to make more as to actually try and make money. But yes, we are. And we've actually got one of our members who recently passed has got a lot of her stuff here, and we're selling that in aid of the Suffolk Wildlife Trust because she was a great worker for them.
Brilliant. So, well, I think the exhibition here runs, as I say, just into early April, but if not this time, then there are always interesting things in the Undercroft, and certainly pottery every now and again. Liz, it's lovely to meet you. Thank you so much.
Well, it's very nice to have met you, and it's a pleasure.
Well, I've never done pottery, as I said, but I was really fascinated listening to all that. And I have been watching a programme on Sunday nights about big pottery competition, rather like Bake Off, etc., that type of thing with the public.
All about pottery.
All about pottery. And some of the creations were beautiful. Some of the things they made were really, really very, very clever.
Yes, no, it is extraordinary. Yeah. Making things out of clay. Real sort of 3D art, isn't
it?
It's
lovely. It really is.
Well, of course, there are always lots of Easter crafts people talk about, don't they? And sort of decorating things, doing wonderful things.
Yes, I remember as a child, my mum used to hard-boil some eggs.
Oh, yeah?
Because we didn't have chocolate eggs then when I was young. It was a long, long time ago. The war. I won't mention the war. And we used to paint the eggs and make beautiful designs of flowers and things on these eggs. And they were really lovely. Just ordinary paints that we had, children's paints.
Yeah, amazing. Well, I remember something a bit different when I was young. Just for 1 year, we lived up in the north of England, when I was quite young, about 5 or 6. And we learnt a thing there from some of the other families where what you did was you went and picked just dandelions and other weeds and perhaps, interesting leaves, shapes, all that sort of thing, which in the spring are just coming. They're all nice and fresh.
Yes.
And then what you do is wrap them around an actual raw egg, and then you put onion skins for lots of sort of dark colour. Then you wrap it all in cloth, just an old scrap of cloth in string, and you boil it in water for maybe 20 minutes. And then out it comes, and you take off the cloth, and you take off the onion skin, which has got all wet, of course, and everything. And then you take off all the flowers and petals, which have become a bit of a mush.
Yeah.
And then you reveal this amazingly decorated egg with all the colours from the natural ingredients.
Yeah.
They're kind of boiled into the egg somehow. And they look, when they've cooled down, they look amazing.
Now, now that's very peculiar, because I was only talking on Wednesday to Simona, who's a Ukrainian lady who comes to our communion on a Wednesday morning, and she was telling me something very similar about wrapping something around the eggs and boiling them, and so that was something she did in Ukraine, obviously.
Yeah, well, it's a great thing, and obviously the egg represents that new life, new birth, very, very much an Easter thing. Yeah.
Lovely.
Well, it's been lovely to chat, April, and now St Peter Mancroft. Now, what was he? Have you been asked? No, I've not been asked actually. The last week or two, who was St Peter Mancroft? But who could he be? The patron saint of
the Easter bunnies.
Could be. Actually, do you know? I think he probably is. I went to the brownie fundraising event just a week or two back, and one of the competitions was this big cuddly toy bunny, and the game was you had to suggest a name. So I looked down the list. Other people had done things like Cuddles and Fluffy and things like that, and I suggested as a name for this very nice Easter bunny, Mancroft. So I wrote Mancroft on my slip of paper, paid my entry fee, and put it in the bucket. I'm not sure if I won or not, but anyway, I think on the strength of that, St Peter Mancroft certainly should be the patron saint of Easter bunnies.
Right.
Perfect. What could be better? Well, it's been lovely to chat as always.
Yes, it has.
And thank you to all of you for joining us for our April podcast. We hope you'll join us again next time.
Yes, we hope so.